All
Thank
right.
you for joining me. And I'm going to introduce this is John. And John is a teacher, the coolest teacher on the block, because he has a way to connect with kids into finding their passion. And that really comes from exploring his own passions. So I'm going to ask John to share with us a little bit about what brings you joy, the most joy, and kind of telling your story about how you discovered your joy and how it's led to passions over time.
All right. So I suppose I've got a few different passions that sort of combine into the overlap quite a lot. One of my big passions is Star Wars, and when I was a kid in 1977, my dad took me to see it. I was 6 years old, and I've loved it ever since. So I used to collect toys and play with Star Wars toys. And as you get older into your teens, it sort of wears off a bit, but it's always been there. And then they started making new films, and my passion sort of come back a lot. And it's sort of most of it started before I moved here. So probably 15, 16 years ago, it really got big. When I was living back in England at home, before we moved here, my wife got me a present. And the present was a trip to Celebration Europe in London. And we went there, and we went for 3 days, and it was a great experience. Loved every second of it. But while I was there, there's all these people walking around in Star Wars costumes. I'm like, this is cool. There's stormtroopers and Jedi and Lukes and Leias and all this other stuff. And we were just about ready to move to America because my wife's from Sheboygan. And I found out that there's 2 Star Wars costuming groups, and there's the 501st, which they costume as villains, Vader, stormtroopers, things like that. And then there's a Rebel Legion, which do Jedi, Han Solos, Luke's, Leia's, all the good people. And I said to her then, I said, when we move, I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a Jedi. So I said, all right. And while we're back home, I also found another passion. They end up combining into one. I've always done martial arts, judo, boxing, all this other stuff, kickboxing.
Yeah.
And I wanted something new. And I've always wanted to learn how to use a sword, which all boys do, I think. Well, girls as well. I've always wanted to try that out. And I found 10 minutes from my house in a museum called Royal Armouries. They taught medieval weaponry. So it's HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. So I went along there. I was training with long swords, sword and shield, pole axes. We're wearing medieval armor. So I was training in all these different martial arts. And I was getting in my 30s. So I'd quit playing football and things like that. But I still needed something else because otherwise I get bored real easy.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. And then we moved here. And with my historical swordsmanship, don't know what really to do. I ended up setting up my own group. So we continue with that. And then with my Star Wars group, I found Rebel Legion. I started putting costumes together, dressing up as all these different Star Wars characters. And from that, we do get to events. People request us. And it might be something simple where a local library, we've done Sheboygan Library, they invite us to come along, dress up, see kids, take photos of us, things like that. And one of the most memorable, this is one of the reasons we do it. We got a request from Make-A-Wish, and there was a kid, a young kid, and he got leukemia, and he was 5 years old. And his wish was to be a Jedi. So they contacted us. They said, can you help? And we said, yeah, we can. So we set up for this 5-year-old kid. He come along to this big theater, and we put on a day of being a Jedi for him. And we got some of our members the great at sewing, so they created a full screen accurate Jedi costume for him. We had one of our sabersmiths. He built him a personal lightsaber, and they brought him and his sisters along. And we were sat on stage. We were all dressed as Jedi, and we're discussing whether to train him as a Jedi, just like they do with Anakin in Episode 1. And we said, no, we're not going to do this. He's too old, all normal sort of all normal sort of stuff. And we'd actually contacted the voice actor who did Yoda's voice in the Clone Wars cartoon, and his voice come on speaker as Yoda. Said, no, we're going to train him. You got to do this. So we ended up putting on. I taught him how to do lightsaber fighting. He went on these little missions. We spent day with him, and he loved every second of it. But thing is, he survived. And
Wow.
a couple of years after, we all, well, another branch off, because we do sword fighting. I got asked if I could do lightsaber demos. And me and my friend, like, yeah, we'll do lightsaber demos. We can do that. And we're like, how do we do this? We have no idea. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So we figured it out. So for the last 12 years, me and a friend of mine have been traveling around doing lightsaber demos and shows at all these events. So we keep doing that. My kids are involved. They join in. They dress up. They come on stage with Darth Vader and fight. But we do a big, massive event in Joliet in Illinois. And the kid who survived always comes down and watches us. And year after we did that, I got cancer. So I did it one year while I'm going through chemo, and he come along and we're supporting each other and talking. So that's one big reason why we do this stuff. We do all these types of events. And, you know, it's that sort of thing that we love. But through this, I've been able to combine my historical weaponry, my medieval stuff, with my Star Wars passion, and we combined them. And now I teach people how to use lightsabers and choreograph fights and travel around. And we build all his own costumes for the most part. It starts off as, yeah, I'm just going to get one costume, but that never happens. You end up getting 5. I know someone who's got like 27 different Star Wars costumes, and she made them herself, and she's 70-year-old. And she's been doing it for years and years. So there's no age limit. It's just one of them things. If you want to do it, you'll do it. And if you don't, you'll just sit and wish that you had.
So your passion has led to you, you know, the thing that you have found that brought you joy has led to you being able to give joy to others with your story through Make-A-Wish.
Yep. And all these little events, we go to libraries, we go to all these, there's one in Milwaukee. It's, and I really like this one for obvious reasons. It's all these companies come together for kids who have had cancer, going through treatments, and there's all like bouncy castles, face painting, all this type of stuff. So they asked us. So we go down and we walk around, get pictures with everybody. We dress up as Mandalorians, stormtroopers, whatever we want. And kids love it. And I got to stand with all these kids who were surviving cancer. I got to stand with a group of them, get my picture took, and I think it inspires them. You know, a lot of kids think they have to do things a certain way. They're told you can't do that, or you can't do it this way. You can do whatever you want. I'm nearly 50 years old, and I'm going to continue this as long as I can, because it's too much fun. Because
why do you think that people try to tell you, not you, but why do you think that we hear those messages that you can't be interested in this, or you're too old for that, you can't be doing that anymore?
I think it's just a society thing. People have certain expectations, and you know, these passions have got to start somewhere. Everybody loves all these type of films, Star Wars films, superhero films, but all these people who make them films, it started out as a hobby. Maybe making a costume, when I was a kid, when I first saw Star Wars, I wanted to be a model maker. I wanted to make them models for films. It didn't work out, but now I'm playing at Jedi and on stage fighting Darth Vader at nearly 50 years old, and it's the best thing I ever do. It's just so much fun, and I won't give it up, because you just sit around and all these, too many people say, oh, I wish I could do that. Well, do it then. Why not? What's stopping? The only thing stopping you is you. If you want to do it, who cares what people think? When you start caring what people think about it, then you stop doing it. And, you know, wife says, you're like a big kid. I'm like, yeah, I am. And it's brilliant. Who wants to be old and miserable and just, you know, society has expectations of what you should be. And if you listen to that, you don't follow what you want to do. We can't all be the same. And when we go out dressed up, we get nothing but positive comments. And people say, oh, I wish I could make that. I've got a full set of Mandalorian armor I built. I built two sets for my kids. And people say, I wish I could do that. Well, you can. Because when I started doing this, I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never really done that sort of stuff. And you just learn new skills. You learn these new things of how to do things, and you mess up. Then you put that aside and you make your next one better, and you just keep going and going. And you're picking up. And now I make a lot of leather armor. My Mandalorian is a full set of Mandalorian armor like Boba Fett, but I did it in leather because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if I could do it. With props we make blasters and lightsabers and little belt things and all these other things, helmets. And I find myself walking around thinking, oh, what's that bit of garbage there? I can make something out of that. And you just try it and see what works. And it's a lot of fun to do. And I was able to combine my two passions of my medieval sword fighting and Star Wars and bring it both together. And now I travel around playing at Jedi, fighting with lightsabers. We get big crowds watching us. We raise money for Make-A-Wish. We've raised a lot of money for St. Jude's by doing this. We do Make-A-Wish events. So a lot of people benefit from it. And it's just a hobby. We don't get anything for this, but it's just things we like to do. And if you let things stop you, you will. You'll let them stop you. We've had time where we have nowhere to train. And in Wisconsin in wintertime, it's a bit cold. Mm-hmm. But we've been outside on Sunday afternoon in negative, silly temperatures, fighting with swords and lightsabers in like knee-deep snow, because why not? As soon as you
joy.
Yeah, it's fun. It would come in, we're freezing, we're cold, but it's if you put things off, you'll always put things off. And you won't do what you want to do. And you only get one life. And if you try things, I always tell kids, if you try something new, if the only thing you learn from trying something new is you didn't like it, you've still learned something. Mm-hmm. Because you've tried it, you learned you didn't like that particular thing, whatever it is, whether it's collecting stuffed animals, whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, whether it's lightsaber fighting, whether it's whatever it is. If all you learn is, I don't like that, at least when you get older, well, I tried it, I just didn't like it, so I moved on to something else. And you find what you want to do, because too many people they come home from work, they sit down, they sit in front of TV, and they just don't do anything. And that kills me. I find that so boring. So I find at the minute I'm working on a Mad Max costume, because I love Mad Max films. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on that, and I just keep finding all these things to do. And I've always done it, even when I was younger. Talking about going against society, back in 80 whatever, we started getting American football on our English TV. I remember my dad come upstairs, I was in my room, and my dad come and said, John, come down and watch this stupid sport. These Americans running around, they got big shoulder pads on, helmets. I don't understand it. So we sat and watched a season of it. My dad was a rugby player.
Okay.
And we sat and watched it for a season. And at the end of the season, I said, Dad, I want to play that. I said, all right, well, let's find where we can do it. And we did it. We set up teams, and I played that for 16, 17 years. And my dad had no idea what he was doing. He was a rugby player, but we traveled around for all that time playing and coaching together. And I remember people, you play American football. That's stupid, that the helmet and shoulder. But who cares? I loved it. I loved every second of it. Of course, now my knees don't work, but it was so much fun. And then I finished that, and then I still need that something to do. So then I discovered all these other things, and I just kept moving on from American football. Then I went back to kickboxing. Then I went back to judo, and I find I need something physical. Then I found this medieval sword fighting. I've been doing that for, 16 years now, and it's transformed from that to lightsabers, and then costuming, and it's like I've always got something to do. It's like there's always work, there's always stresses, there's always a reason to put things off, there's always a reason not to do it. And if if you have that mindset, you're not going to do it. You're just going to wish you had when you get old. And that's something I just don't want. When I get to 70, 80 years old, and I don't want to say, I wish I'd have done that when I was younger. So whenever I can do this stuff, I do it.
Well, thank you for sharing your message. And I think it's a really important one for us to really think about, that the things in your examples that have brought you joy have also led to helping others and learning new skills and meeting new friends. But at the end of the day, they didn't have to, and it still would have been okay, even if you weren't working in a group, or even if you weren't learning new things about films and costuming and working with leather. Those are all incredible, but those are just kind of extras. That really, you are pursuing what makes you happy and what you are interested in, and that led you to every other area. But the message that I'm hearing from you at its core is really just, who cares what other people think? If there's something that sparks within you, keep on doing it, and at all costs.
And I think when you do that, it starts off as, well, I'm doing it for me. I want to do this. But especially now with technology and internet and all this, you'll find somebody who has that same, who wants to do that same thing. You're not the only one that wants to do it. And it's so easy to find other people who have that same passion. I mean, people at school think I'm a big Star Wars geek, but I'll introduce you to people that are 1,000 times more a Star Wars geek than me. Even though I've got one of my things at school, I'm known as Star Wars teacher, and I got a cool accent, so I'm one of the coolest teachers there. But every day of school, I wear a different Star Wars shirt. I'm up to like maybe 140 Star Wars shirts now, and that started off by accident. It just started off, I'm getting a lot of Star Wars shirts. I'll start wearing them to school. And then people start buying them me. And every Christmas and birthday, I get like 2 or 3 more shirts, and it builds up. So I'm going to build it up. So I've got a different Star Wars t-shirt for every day of the year. And even kids who, I find it so easy to connect with kids, because I walk down hallway and people come and find me out to see what shirt I'm wearing that day.
Yeah.
And I find that kids who have well, I don't like Star Wars. Yeah, but it's made you come over and talk to me just to tell me you don't like it. And you connect with every kid has got an opinion on it. So they come to see what shirt you've got on. They come and tell you that they love it or what their favorite character is. And before you know it, you've built up that relationship with a kid that you might have thought you'd no chance with. But they might be, oh, I like that lightsaber. Oh yeah, then you start talking, and that just starts so many conversations with these kids, and it builds that connection straight away, whether they like it or not. Everybody knows it, and you've got a connection straight away with every kid. Then you get known for it, and kids expect it, which is fine. So we had a Star Wars day a couple of weeks at school. I thought, I don't really want to do this because we're online. It's not like walking in always, and I'll do it. Why not? Why should I put it off? So we're teaching in 5 classes that day and had 5 different costume changes. I was exhausted by the end of the day, but it's like, why not? I mean, that's what kids remember. They don't remember the math, what they learned in math.
Mm-hmm.
Remember this other stuff. When I taught at Urban, I went in talent show and did lightsaber shows for them. I took my medieval armor in. I've done them. I've took my costumes in, and that's what these kids remember. And if you get across to them that it's all right to be different, you don't have to be the same as everybody else, because you'll find your own little group who loves that. Whatever hobby it is, you'll find people that also want to do it. And we have people who can do so much more than me. They build droids, fully functioning droids. They build all these, they build like alien masks from films, and you're like, oh, these are unbelievable. But that's our careers have started through this. You get that passion, and you know, there's college courses for them. You can get jobs doing that. These people, George Lucas started somewhere,
right?
They all start somewhere, and whether nothing comes of it, like I've never been paid for anything I'm doing this, but it don't matter. I don't care. I'm doing it for me, and I've met so many people because of it. Friends. I mean, this is a worldwide thing, so I know people all over the world who do this. and you get friends with them, and whatever it is, you find it, you do it, and you just do what you want to do. And so many people come, oh, I'd love to be able to do that. Well, come along and come and join us and train with us and practice. Oh yeah, but, and as soon as they say yeah, but, it's like, well, yeah, that just tells me you don't really want to. You sort of do, but you don't want to put that time and effort in.
Or get judged.
Or do what?
Or have that judgment.
Yeah.
You talked about that too, about how so many people are held back that even if they do inside think it's cool, they think that they're not supposed to be interested in something like that, or they're not supposed to give their time to what brings them joy.
Or the family thinks you shouldn't be doing that. That's not what a grown man should be doing. I never had that as a kid. So that helped, having parents who'd support it. But I know some parents, you go to school, you get a job, you work, you do this. What's fun in that? I mean, I know we have to do that, but I don't find that a lot of fun. The other things, that's how you enjoy life. That's what you remember. You don't remember going to work for 12 hours a day, slogging your guts out. You remember these other things, and you've got to enjoy yourself. You've got to go out and do these things, have a good time, learn new skills, meet new people, do silly stuff. And if it don't work, it don't work. If you don't like it, find something else. But I don't think there's nothing worse than just sitting doing nothing. I get frustrated. I get agitated. I have to move around and do something, because you only get one chance, and before you know it, you're done. You're too old. You are too old, man. I mean, my dad's 83 and he still does stuff to have fun. And if you make excuses, you'll do it forever, and then you'll look back and think, I wish I had done that. But
well, thank you. I am definitely going to go do something silly and just model all that you model every day for your students and for your kids, and for your group of friends. And I think that this is more than just a message about why it's important to follow your joy. This was really a life lesson. So thank you so much, John.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
This is what got me through chemotherapy, because the group of people I had around me from this Star Wars were there for me all the time. And as we do these troops, I mapped it out on a calendar that I counted down my chemotherapy for 8 months by the troops I was doing. So I was still doing it. I still kept everything going. I still trained. I still did my lightsaber shows. And I had a troop at beginning. Like, my first chemotherapy is this troop. My last one in this troop. I've got this at middle. So I counted down my chemotherapy by these Star Wars events. And I got one done. Right, when's my next one? That is my next. My goals weren't counting the chemotherapy sessions. My goal is to make it through that next troop and that next troop and that next one. When I got to my last one, that's it, I'm done. So it's not only fun, it's what kept me going, it's what kept me positive, it what kept me, this thing's not going to beat me. I'm going to do exactly what I've been doing all this time, and this is what's going to get me through. And playing silly games as a Jedi got me through that as well. So that's just another positive thing.
That's absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I think that the reason that we're hoping to spark more joy this January is because it's been a really difficult year. And like you've said, there should be, at this point, things are hard enough, and getting through difficult, this pandemic, I'm not comparing that to a cancer survivor's journey by any means, but the tools that you're sharing here are more than just hobbies. They're coping mechanisms, and they're the things that give you not just passion but purpose. So I think that's an important message too. Thank you so much, John.
Pandemic will end.
Exactly, but Star Wars never will.
All right.
Thanks,
Al.